Everything is in a smile.
Greetings, children of the screen. Your friendly neighborhood nerd scum here, coming at you to talk about a little book called Doomsday Clock number 7. And I am joined by
Logan.
Right on, man. So what did you think of the 7th issue of Doomsday Clock?
Solid.
Yeah,
Solid.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Whereas, again, significant delays
Yeah,
in between each
significant.
issue. It's been like 2 months since
Yep.
the last one.
We've been afraid with previous issues that we weren't really getting the pacing we
Yes,
wanted, especially with the delays.
Yeah, things were going really slow, but I have to admit, while reading this book, none of that mattered.
Yes.
It
that
took me a
was-
minte to kind of remember where they left off on
Yeah,
the
I
last
read the
one.
previous issue,
Yeah,
which
it helps.
really didn't give you a whole lot of context for everything with Rorschach in them.
Yes.
because they aren't really in that issue. But yeah,
But yeah, honestly, this is what I felt issue 6 should have felt like.
yeah,
It felt like they've been taking too much time setting things up and establishing things. While all that stuff's been really well done,
Yeah.
for a book with so many delays, it kind of feels like nothing's been happening, even though things are clearly happening in each issue. It just feels like,
yeah.
But with this one, it's the first time in a while where I felt like this is the book that I thought it, when I thought of the book originally when they announced it, yeah, Doomsday Clock. This book was the one that's like, yes, this is what I thought this whole series would be like.
Yeah, we thought this was the world that we were going to be
exactly.
in the whole time.
This feels like what I wanted out of this book.
Right.
So I guess first off, we're going to go through a brief summary of what happens in the book. So very briefly, and again, this will be spoilers, but we will be also skipping over some elements and some things won't be talked about. So if you haven't read the book, go pick up the book and check it out, and then come back and check this out. So in summary, basically, Doomsday Clock starts off with basically seeing from Dr. Manhattan's point of view as he is basically jumping through time as his consciousness does, looking at basically all the things that are around and leading up to him, going in and moving the Green Lantern battery slightly out of Alan Scott's way so he never becomes the Green Lantern. We also then see a history of the Lantern through Dr. Manhattan's point of view, and then how it found its way to Johnny Thunder. We then catch back up with Ozymandias and Rorschach and Saturn Girl and Johnny Thunder as basically Ozymandias has cloned the big cat. I can't remember its name, unfortunately, but the big cat from the original Watchmen.
Bobastis?
Yeah, something like that. He was disintegrated with Dr. Manhattan. So because of that, they're atomically linked or something like that. So he can use that and the battery which Manhattan has touched as a way to find traces of John and draw him to them. So basically they go off looking for him, and then we switch back over again and catch up with Joker and Mime and Marionette, who are torturing the shit out of the comedian.
Which really raises some tension.
Yes.
Because you have two different things going on, you know it's going to come together,
Yeah,
but you don't know
you
when.
know things are coming to a head, but you don't know when. And before the thing that you think is going to happen happens, fucking Batman shows up.
Yep.
And we get a dope-ass fight, and a great moment that you pointed out with Joker using freaking a flamethrower,
Just whoa!
in between his legs, I know what you're thinking. Is that just a flamethrower, or are you happy to see me? And that's awesome, but then, just when it seems like that fight is turning in favor of the villains, frickin' Ozymandias and that whole crew shows up, and they call forth Dr. Manhattan, who shows up in the buff, as always, and then, he isolates all the people from the original Watchmen universe, and they
Which
just
is pretty great. He's we need to talk. He's okay, let's just teleport off.
and
We'll
boom,
talk.
they're just gone. And then basically they just have a little conversation where we find out that Ozymandias does not have motherfucking cancer. It's a ruse, which actually has been hinted at in previous issues.
Yeah.
And then also we find out that Rorschach 2 vastly misremembered his father in a lot of ways, and definitely doesn't understand who the real Rorschach was. He has horrible misconceptions about both of them and their relationship and what it did to his father. Basically, he's wearing the visage of the man who fucking destroyed his father. And with that, John's I think we're done talking. Later. And he just fucking vanishes, and Robbie, Rorschach 2, flips out on everybody and just starts beating the shit out of people.
Joker included.
Beats
the fuck out of him.
And then frickin' John hops off to Mars and is just
So we done talking.
yeah, he's just I look 100 years in the future and I see nothing.
I don't even think it was 100.
No, yeah, like that's the thing. He starts at like 100 and he counts backwards.
Right. He said like I went even to 1,000,000.
I think he starts off at 100 or something bigger, and then he counts down until he gets to like a week.
Yeah.
And then he was like, and I see nothing.
Yeah.
And that's where the book fucking ends. Awesome, right? So, what's like some of your favorite stuff from the issue?
Really the pacing, the tension, like all of that worked completely. It felt a lot better than previous stuff going on. And then you mentioned it, Rorschach. That like I liked Watchmen Rorschach, you know, not for all the wrong reasons, really. Like I liked Moon Knight. Like he just he's a brutal ass guy, you know, like he's just that's his thing, violence. And he's black and white, which I've kind of funny in that sense. But like where they make fun of it or they address it. Like like movie Rorschach and Watchmen Rorschach are not the same. You know, comic book Rorschach are not the same people, and like they really made you like Robbie, was his name Robbie?
Yeah, Robbie.
He looks at movie Rorschach, you know.
Yeah, like that's how he views Rorschach. Right. Yeah. And again, like I really enjoyed that as well, because I think in every video we've done about Doomsday Clock, I've bitched about like the fact that they've turned Rorschach into the misconception of Rorschach to like the movie Rorschach, where he's a kinder, gentler Rorschach who's still a brutal bastard, but they remove enough of the like really edgy things, like him being a racist and you know, him being homophobic and all those kind of things. They remove anything that's kind of like really unlikable, so that you can kind of be like, oh yeah, like no, he's just a really brutal like vigilante guy, like that's it, and he's like kind of crazy, but he's okay. But no, in this book we finally actually see that like no, Rorschach was a fucking monster, and the only reason why this kid has the conception of him that he does is because someone deliberately took bits of his father's notes out. Probably
the guy that got it. The notes. Was it the notes or the journal?
Yeah, the notes.
Okay.
Because when they first started off, it was just the notes.
That's right.
The journal is Rorschach's journal, but the notes were his father's notes on the Walter Kovacs case. They're totally trolling all the fans who don't get Rorschach. Like, all the fans who don't understand the purpose of Alan Moore's use of Rorschach. The same way that some people, like, idolize V from V for Vendetta, where they've only seen the movie. Where, like, in the book, it's made out that he's not a hero. Like, he's a fucking terrorist. And, like, he's bad, but he's also a symptom of a larger problem. A problem that he, as a part of, is going to destroy. And, like, he has no place in the world that will come after that, which is why he doesn't make it through it. Like, again, but people have misconstrued that both in book form and in, like, making of the movie, so, like, this character is just like that. Rorschach is absolutely not someone who's supposed to be looked up to or admired or been like, you're so cool, man, and that's what everyone's just like, yeah, Rorschach's awesome. I'd totally be Rorschach if I was in the Watchmen universe.
I wouldn't.
And I'm just like, yeah, no. Like, Rorschach's like the original Dexter. Yeah. Because he just flat out fucking murks motherfuckers. Yeah.
Like, although the bathroom scene is dope.
No, yeah, it's really dope. Like, again, it is fulfilling from one point as a reader or a viewer to see someone step outside, that far outside the bounds of, like, human decency and do something that we might fantasize about doing but would never even consider doing for real. Yeah. And Rorschach, like, that's why, like, he does endear to people a little bit, is because, like, he can go there, he can do that, but he can only do that because he's already a monster. Yeah. You know? It allows us to live out these, like, strange fantasies, and in the book, that plays out in a very interesting and different way, where, like, you become complicit in the actions of Rorschach a little bit. Yeah. So, yeah, which has been one of my biggest problems with Doomsday Clock from the beginning, is I'm like, no, you can't perpetuate this idea of this sociopathic, almost, like, he's not a fascist, but he's on the verge, you know? Like,
something else for sure.
Yeah, a totalitarian for sure. Yeah. Like, yeah, Rorschach is not a nice guy, and the book seemed to be pushing that. So I'm really happy that this issue addressed that and, like, set the record straight and, like, gave me a new context to view all those previous issues where I'd had problems with it. Because, yeah, even in this book, there's, like, one little moment earlier on in the book where Robbie is thinking about his father and, like, how his father never gave up hope and, like, how his father to the end was going to save Walter Kovacs. And I almost stopped reading the book because I was like, no, it's bullshit. No, that's not what happened.
Yeah, he was obsessed with him.
But then, like, literally, like, eight pages later, I was like, oh, shit. Yep.
they had
awesome.
to kind of remind us a little bit, or at least like give us an understanding of Robbie's point of view,
and
which
like
makes sense.
They need to give it to us to remind us because it's been so long,
right?
And also like there will always be someone who picks up some random issue of a popular book as their first book. So you have to try to leave little context clues for those people who are jumping in there so that hopefully they'll go back and read the rest. So yeah.
Which really, like, you could pick this issue up, I feel like. And you
kind
of have an idea of what's going on.
Oh yeah, there's
like,
been a lot.
With the reveal of, like, him not having cancer, like, you could still go, oh shit, he lied about cancer.
Literally, it's
stuff like that.
They've set so much stuff up, and all of it is echoed in this book because they're, like, they're pulling all the threads together. So, like, they've got to remind you about it, but it also works as, like, an actually pretty decent jumping on point where, like, you could pick this up and be like, fuck, I need to read this, and I should probably go back and try to find the others. So as for me, again, like, this book's awesome. It's, like, everything I really wanted this book to be, and there are, like, a few different elements that really worked that in for me. Specifically, the history of the lantern battery.
Yeah.
The way that they worked that in and, like, made it into, like, Aladdin's lamp and kind of played with the mythology of it, especially because, like, in the original Alan Scott Green Lantern mythology, it was all about magic, so, like, finding that way to, like, kind of add an extra layer of, like, the metatextualness to that. Yeah. That I really, really enjoyed, especially, like, the idea of, like, there's a part of Alan Scott that's still somehow trapped in there and, like, calling out to Johnny Thunder from, like, some extra dimensional place or something like that, which also then, like, harkens back a little bit to in The Button, Batman Flash The Button, where we saw Jay Garrick stuck in the Time Force, or the Speed Force, I'm sorry, not the Time Force. We saw Jay Garrick stuck in the Speed Force, and, like, similar things were going on there where, like, he wasn't allowed to leave, and so it's this idea of, like, maybe because it's, like, the old Lantern and it's magical, maybe there's some pocket dimension or something where Jay Garrick, maybe he didn't really die. Maybe, like, Dr. Manhattan whisked him off over there because he, like, has that scene where he's saying that he's standing over his grave, you know, and maybe he feels shitty about it because, like, again, while...
Or maybe, like, they're the cost.
Yeah, or like something like that.
Because he did mess with it.
Yes, and like even in the first original Watchmen book, it's like put forth that like while we view John as a god, deep down inside he's still a person.
Right.
Like he still does actually feel those feelings and stuff. So it's interesting. Like I'm interested. I love that, and I'm interested to see where that goes. Another one of the things that I really, really liked is once again the mime and marionette relationship still really, really works for me. And especially like a lot of people are like the Joker's going to be their son, and like maybe because the dimensions are different and the time, like the periods in time and how time works could be different.
Could definitely add into the multi-Joker conspiracy.
Yeah, but
like
I honestly don't think that's going to be the case.
No, because they kind of mention, like, they make it sound like he's a hero. Like,
yeah,
or like their son's gonna be a
maybe
hero
like he does something, but it's vague. But yeah, so like it's clear that like throughout the rest of this book and maybe moving on into the future, them or their child has a bigger role to play.
Yeah,
so that's really cool. Right on. And what would you say is your least favorite thing in the book, or like what didn't work for you?
I mean, it's littered throughout the whole book. Like we've been waiting for it, but at the end, spoilers. When he talks about like Superman. Either him destroying Superman or Superman destroying him. Yeah. Like, we're waiting for that. It's going to be a fight. But, like, it's just, like, really, like, come on, man. Like I know it's coming, but I want to, like, you know.
I mean, like,
I don't want a definitive time limit.
Well, no, but I mean, like, the whole reason it's in there is because, first off, I don't actually think there's going to be a fist fight between Superman and Dr. Manhattan, because there's, unless, like, again, like, if Dr. Manhattan loses all his power, maybe, but, like, I'm pretty sure that there's some other weird explanation for it, but more so than that, like, people have lost interest in this book to a large degree. Yeah, so that's in there because I'm pretty sure in the next issue we will at least see a conversation between Dr. Manhattan and Superman. Right. Like, again, I think that with this book, they really put forth the effort to be like, all the things that you wanted are fucking coming, okay? Like, we're on it.
Just give us time.
We're almost there, guys. Just, like, come back. Like, because the sales have still been doing good, but there has been some decline. So, yeah, like, I didn't mind that so much just because I was like, okay. Like, we've been very sparse on Superman in this book.
Yes, yeah.
And, like...
I would kind of put that... I guess... That's really what it is. Yeah. It's like there's really not been any Superman, and then you mention him, and it's like, motherfucker, now I gotta wait another 2 weeks and see if Superman shows up.
2 months,
or 2
months,
probably,
yeah. Unless it comes out a little earlier, but yeah.
Who knows?
You know, maybe. But yeah, so yeah, it didn't really bother me so much, just because I felt like, again, like how they were reestablishing everything they had already done. You would need to establish Superman somewhere, and by putting it like literally one of the last things you see, I think they're indicating that like, oh yeah, this is everything that's been going on, and fucking remember, Superman's in this book too, and he's gonna be here soon. Relatively speaking. My least favorite thing, or the thing that didn't work for me, it's a really, really cool fight, but I didn't really like Batman getting his ass whipped so easily. In this book, Batman has been taken down like multiple times, and I'm just like, hold on, wait, does this take... I thought this was in the main DC universe. Is this Earth 1?
Yeah, I was thinking
where Batman's just a... Jeff Johns wrote that too, and in that Batman's a fucking doofus.
Yeah.
And in this one, like, Joker gets him, like, in the last issue and in this issue, and then, like, Mime and Marionette, who are badass characters...
Fuck him up!
Fuck his shit up,
And last issue, like, he was tied up the whole time, pretty much.
And, like, she's got, like, the marionette wire that's all sharp and shit, but there's no way in fucking hell it should be able to cut through his, like, gauntlet blades, you know? Like, no, that didn't work. Like, it's so brief, it's really cool. The fight's cool, it's drawn cool, but I'm like, do you really have to make Batman look like such a doofus? Yeah. Like, such a doofus?
Yeah. Made him look like kind of a dick and kind of a doofus, like this whole set so far.
And I mean, maybe that's the thing where, like, part of Alan Moore's original intent with Watchmen was to show how silly comic book superheroes are, and, like, maybe Jeff Johns is carrying on that tradition by making Batman kind of a doofus in this story.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. And finally, this isn't actually a complaint about the book. It doesn't actually bother me, but it's more a complaint about the bullshit, like, hypocrisy of what... I have no idea what the fuck is going on behind the scenes at DC. So, just a brief, like, for anyone who somehow doesn't know, who happens to be watching this video, I don't know how that's even fucking possible, but, yeah, Batman Damned... They showed his dick. Everyone flipped out. Originally, they were saying it was going to be recalled. Turned out, stores were pissed. They didn't recall. So, like, now they're just going to remove it from further printings. So, that happened last week. It was a big thing. This week, this book comes out, and in it, you see Dr. Manhattan's dick. Now, mind you, we've seen Dr. Manhattan's dick before.
Yeah, staying true to the character.
Yeah, we've seen the dick before. It's the way he appears. And even though the picture in Batman Damned was technically larger, you actually see more of Dr. Manhattan's dick than you saw of Batman's. And it's fine, and it's in the main DC line.
I think I just realized something.
What?
I think it's because it's blue.
Maybe? I don't think so. I don't know. Honestly, what it is because no one's going to mention it. Yeah. No one's going to talk about it. Batman's dick is news. Because most of the people, like literally half the people I know who bought the comic, didn't notice the dick until they started hearing people online talk about it. And then they flip back through Batman Damned and like, oh my god, there is a dick right there. If it were a snake, it would have fucked me in the ass. You know, like... Most people didn't even notice, but this I don't think they're worried about because I don't think they think anyone's going to mention it because we've seen Dr. Manhattan's dick before, but guess what? We've seen Batman's dick before now too, so why does it even fucking matter? I don't know. Anyway, we're not going to harp on this too long. I did a whole video about it. You can go check that out. Anyway,
2 videos.
Anyway, like, that kind of bothers me, that they're going to choose whose dick we can see and when and in what frickin' printing imprint. Like, no.
It's bullshit.
It's bullshit. Fuck that shit. Okay, so now that I'm done with that, I think it's safe to say we both enjoyed this book.
Oh, yeah.
Would you recommend it to folks?
Yeah. I mean, definitely 6 with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just because, like, 6 is your halfway point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, like, this, definitely, yeah. If you were kind of skeptical, you only read, like, issues 1, 2, and 3, and you're like, this really isn't for me. It's like, pick it back up.
Give it another
chance. Issue 7's solid.
Yeah, so. I'd give this issue 4 out of 5 GGs. Like, it's not 100% perfect, but it's everything that I kind of wanted out of this book from the beginning.
So, a lot of our expectations finally fell into place.
Yeah, it only took about a fucking year, so, you know. But yeah, I definitely highly recommend it. Definitely check it out. Right on, children of the screen, thank you very much for joining us for our thoughts on Doomsday Clock number 7.
Good night, guys.
Right on, guys. And if you like this video, then please leave a like and share it with some friends. Also, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit that little bell so you can get updates on all the content we'll have coming out in the future. Furthermore, guys, if you'd like to follow me on Instagram or Twitter, I will have the links for that in the description below. Right on. Once again, children of the screen, thank you very much. Nerd Scum, out.